the previous cafe or company,
Disbanded cafe,
as far as I know, that the higher ups were the ones that actually benefited more from it.
to be sold for people to get in.
Those artists saw none of that.
Yeah.
Venting to us in our group chat, and said we should just do it.
Yeah.
Make our own thing. So Temper Tantrum has a new child subsidiary company under it called Ochacha. I'm not going to go into it too much because I'm not the executive director of that. I'm more so like the advisor in that sense.
And grandfather.
And I'm not the one leading the charge on that, but once the executive director of that is Noelle.
Mm-hmm.
And once she's here, we'll do a podcast with her and eventually her leadership team and everything to obviously content, but to get to know them.
Well, we can talk, and they can probably talk about
they can probably talk about the whole what really happened. But as far as I'll share my perspective on it, and then she'll share her perspective on it, like why we decided to expand on it, why we decided to have another child company. And that honestly was not something I never pictured for us to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was something we kind of toyed with the idea. Correction, we did think about it, but it was more so like, that'd be funny. Like,
wouldn't it be funny if Temper Tantrum did this?
Yeah, and if we did do that, it would probably be like another 5 years down the line or something.
Mm-hmm.
But this opportunity kind of fell on our lap in a sense,
Mm-hmm.
but through unfortunate circumstances. Because in short, and feel free to correct me, because it is not my realm, but I the main reason I'm interested in it is I think it's a great entertainment business opportunity in that specific space. But Ochacha is a maid and butler cafe.
Yes.
And they are essentially doing maid and butler experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And the main thing that we're aiming to elevate with them is
the dancing,
is the dance portion of it, and also trying to go beyond just doing conventions, because conventions eventually, like that season eventually ends. So the main thing, the gap that we're trying to do is finding consistent performances for them and their specific experience in that space. That's, I guess, the best way I can explain it in terms of what we're doing with it, in terms of the goal. And ultimately, at the end of the day, is also to get the performers paid.
Yeah.
And then anyone who in Ochacha, Amy, Noelle, if you guys happen to be watching this, like, feel free to correct me in the comments. Like, the goal ultimately is to get performers paid.
Yes.
And as far as I know,
at least our business goal for them.
The business goal is to get artists paid the wage and that they deserve, which is essentially Temper Tantrum's overarching goal, which is why we believed it was aligned to do that with them. And the main reason it happened is because the previous cafe or company that they were working with disbanded.
They disbanded They disbanded cafe.
Okay.
Yeah. So I also don't have all the correct details on this, but from what I gather / remember is that there's this company that was basically backing them in a sense to do the Maid and Butler Cafe experience at Anime Expo. Basically disbanded them for whatever reason, and then obviously these people were displaced in a sense. Not that they were homeless or anything, but like there's this thing that they love doing. They love doing it so much they didn't mind not getting paid.
Yeah, as far as I know, I don't think they actually got paid for it. It was a lot of volunteer work.
Yes.
And as far as I know, they again, this is just from the grapevine. As far as I know, that the higher ups were the ones that actually benefited more from it. I think they actually sold tickets.
Yeah, there were tickets had to be sold for people to get in.
So, and then those artists saw none of that.
Yeah.
As far as I recall from conversations.
Yeah.
So in that the day that happened, Noelle, who is now the executive director of that, or head honcho, however she wants to be called. It's just titles are titles. It's just a matter of the value you bring to the team and what you can do. yeah, she shared her frustration with it
Mhm.
and just venting to us in our group chat. And I will like, I think I said just we should just do it,
Yeah.
make our own thing.
And then we all started throwing out ideas in the group chat.
And support, because it's something that we believe that we can do,
Mhm.
that there's something unique that we can do to put a spin on it. And also like Brandon and Lauren, who came from that space with another company, are very familiar with the cons
Yes.
and especially the pop culture anime space, where they would perform. So it's nothing new to them.
Mhm.
This would just be a different kind of approach and execution. And then it just was a kind of a joke.
Yeah.
And then
we brought it up again at Leadership Day. Actually, yeah, I sent Noelle like certain questions like to consider, specifically around like, what's your idea for monetization? What's the marketing plan? Mhm.
How are you going to get leads? How are you going to how are you going to essentially, what's the business plan?
Mhm.
Like, because anyone can just put together a crew and then kind of perform. Like there's plenty of opportunities like that, in my opinion, if you know where to look.
Yep.
It's even harder to find a way to make those opportunities to get potential paying clients and customers.
Mhm.
I know the hard thing for speaking on that for temper tantrum, like some of the main things for us, like if we wanted to just be on stage, we can just go to say, like apply for say
Another mixed
any of
match.
these like some of these dance festivals if they
Yeah.
accept us. We can apply to just perform at a community event like Maxed Out. Shouts out to Mark.
Hi, Mark.
Or an Spocom or a World of Dance, one of the smaller ones, not the main championship one.
Yeah. We go to Vegas again.
Yeah. So we can apply to that if we just wanted to perform.
Yeah.
We'd have to pay to perform.
Yeah, it's pay to play for most of these.
But then it's harder to find places that are hiring specifically for a group to do a specific gig.
Mhm.
Like Pride festivals, fairs, corporate events.
626 night market.
Yeah, that's kind of
I don't think that's
night
even
markets.
Yeah.
So,
some of those night markets aren't even paid, but like it, especially for a night market 626 specifically, it's huge. It's originated here in the 626, but now they have it like they have freaking OC event.
Yeah.
They have all that like in San Diego.
Yeah, that aside, like it's more so like finding the gigs that actually pay, that are willing to pay a crew specifically, and then obviously picking the right amount of dancers, because not everyone's going to pay $300 for 20 dancers. So it probably might get 4 or 5, or 6 depending on what they're looking for.
Yeah.
And then even more so, like most of the time, it's like they book, I'd say, the choreographer to build the cast.
Yes.
So, or it's the agency or entertainment company that builds the cast. It's not often where it's like, okay, let's book this whole group.
Yeah.
As far as I know, there's
from what I've seen,
there's a whole aspect in the dance business world that I know I'm still ignorant to, as much as I've been into. I'd like to think been in it, but I don't think but when I see other people who've been into the industry longer than I have, like I'm still a fucking baby. So that's how I think of it relatively. But now with Ochacha, their goal, well, I think I know one of the big things is to break into conventions.
Yes.
One of the bigger ones. And that's going with starting small. And then the other one is creating consistent revenue.
Yeah.
Through their own experience. I don't want to give away too much what they're doing, but like they're through creating their own experiences. And then I think one of the reasons I even am more supportive of this is because in the world of AI, where there's going to be a lot of AI art, I think personal experiences, face-to-face experiences, are going to be much more valuable. I think it rose up after COVID, and it's gonna go even higher now because of AI and whatever happens. Because there's just a flood of people just using AI. Some good, a lot of it bad. So, and then the only way you're going to be able to distinguish AI, like reality, is to actually be there.
Yeah.
And then maybe we'll eventually get to a world of robots doing the dancing, and that's a whole different thing itself. We're not even at an age of functional robots
Robot
yet.
maids
Washing dishes. So
yeah, and then clearly the moves are still very like robotic. It's still very obvious. Like even if they were able to program them to do things, it's like it's
yeah. So but brought it up at Leadership Day. Then she answered it, and we just had a discussion on that in terms of how, the why, the who's going to help you run it. How is this going to be different from previously? How are you going to make it unique? Yeah. How are you going to make it not just the same old thing? Because the last thing you want to do is just do. I mean, if it works, there's no need to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
But if there's space that even 10 to 20% to improve something, I would say do it. And I think considering that they have a Brandon and Laura and there's professional dance experience that can help build up their dancers, that I think would help in terms of the performance aspect.
Yeah.
And then fortunately, like right after we kind of finished all the paperwork stuff in terms of the fun business stuff, Noelle, I think a friend of Noelle's, I could be wrong.
Yeah, Noelle had a contact.
Or contact, there you go.
That basically they have their own, like it's an organization, it's a nonprofit. But like they kind of had their own like space at Taste of Japan, which I think happens every year in Anaheim. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it happens every year in Anaheim. And so basically part of their like space that they were able to book was that they are able to have performers. So Noelle was able to be like, okay, yeah. Like I hate, like, basically contact and be like, hey, I have a new Maiden Butler Cafe. We would love to perform. And then initially they said, oh, send us video performances. But at this point, they haven't even rehearsed yet. Or maybe they've only had like 2 rehearsals. So it's like, I don't have anything, honestly. But she was like, I trust you. And then gave them 2 slots.
Yeah.
So it had to be a really quick turnaround. But it also even way before that, it started, I think it initially started as like, oh, this can be something Temper Tantrum can do, like just as a Temper Tantrum, and then maybe Noelle can bring in some of their friends from the previous cafe, and then it just evolved and grew into its own company now. But yeah, there was a quick turnaround from auditions to that performance, and that performance was crucial because they are trying to promote their pop-ups. If they're trying to promote their pop-ups, they need people to come, and no one's.
Don't talk about the pop-ups.
Oh yeah.
Don't talk about the pop-ups.
Okay. But yeah. So they performed at Taste of Japan, and it was like, so from the turnaround from auditions to Taste of Japan was just what, a month. And I'm gonna leave the actual dance critique to Lauren or Brandon, but I was there. I captured some behind the scenes stuff, but on overall, it was pretty successful. The performers were really great. The band was great. Oh yeah, they have a band. That they drew in a really huge crowd to the point that it was almost a fire hazard. Because I think it was a combination of Noelle being on the pulse of what's popular within that space, in terms of music and performances, and on top of that, Lauren and Brandon's choreography is most their choreography is more elevated than most Maiden Butler performances I've seen, either on YouTube or live from back in the day when I used to go to things like that. But yeah, like it's just more elevated, and I think more people appreciated that, and I think they're gonna go a long way.
I think so. I think they're gonna go a long way too.
Yeah.
And I think it's definitely one of those things. I think where temper tantrum dancers, if they wanted, they can go be part of that as well, in terms of like dance involvement, dance work. Because there's another couple other shows that we're trying to develop as temper tantrum. So, but if they happen to love anime and this type of entertainment, this is an option for them. Yeah. And I remember, I would say there was a sense of, not a sense of, there was a lot of stress getting ready for it, because you only had, there was a certain amount of rehearsals that were given, and there was a lot more that were asked. And it reminded me of like, man, like the whole thing, two things that reminded me of like, which was, let me fix this. However long you think something's going to get completed, triple that, because there was much more time that was required. And then it goes into that they did what was required, not just their best, because they could have just had the same amount of rehearsals and kept it at that and be like, we did our best within these 3-4 rehearsals. No, they did what was required. Okay, we have these rehearsals, but we want to put on a good show. Extra rehearsals. Who can do it? Because this is what's required to put together a good show, especially for if it was our first one. I think, and I'm grateful. I don't know if I think there was only like one new person, if I recall, but I'm grateful that there's a lot of the original cast. Oh, like in terms of essentially transferred over. Augie. Yeah, so a lot of them just essentially came through. I think a couple of them are on another cafe as well, that was started by another former member of that same group. But a lot of them are also part of this as well. Yeah. So they found a home. Yeah, they essentially, chemistry is still there, experience is still there. Now we're trying to elevate them as dancers and performers. The hard part is, like, I know not everyone's trying to seek professional dancer status, so we can't throw them on that. But it's also, but it's also fair that if we're trying to elevate this, we do what's required, and we gotta step up the game a little bit. So, and to be fair, the turnaround time they were given plus the number of pieces they were doing was very professional. That's on a pro level status. Like you have to learn. They 4 pieces. Some of them have to learn 4 pieces in a month. Yeah. And a couple of them learned, I remember watching one of the rehearsals with Brandon, and he taught them 3 pieces in 30 minutes. So it's like, that's what we have to do. Yeah. So it's very much so and again, if you're not in the sense of I'm trying to be pro, that's a lot. And then it can be overwhelming if it's not what you're going into. But I think I want to commend anyone all the dancers that did that. So that's that, because then it really showed out in terms of the result. Yeah, it provided a great experience. It was a great first impression. I wasn't there personally. I was seeing a lot of the stories and getting updates. But I'd say it was a pretty good success for the first time. But it goes to they didn't have to. They didn't but they in terms of if they didn't want to. We gave our best for these amount of rehearsals, but they did what was required to put together a good show, to put a good experience, to make a good first impression of this company. So, there was a maid performer that initially was just going to do day show. She was like, I'm just, I think she got mixed up on the rehearsal times. And she that was the first one we were at. Okay. Yeah. So she was like, oh, I thought it was day show first. And they were like, no, night show first. And then she learned it anyway, and then she got blocked in. Yep. So I'm like, oh, you go, girl. But yeah, okay. So just quick day show. Look, we keep talking about day show, night show. Day show is the cutesy stuff that you pretty much see online. They're in the cute little maid dresses. They perform some cute stuff, and all that. Maids and butlers. Night show, 18 plus. There you go. Yeah, it's kind of their approach to it is the duality, the different personalities. It's almost I don't know, like a thing. The closest thing is like a secret identity or a different identity.
Noelle calls it their alternate universe.
Yes. So, and they have their own lore and everything. I don't know anything about the lore. I
need to go through the Discord first.
I'm not the main thing. My focus in this, in the involvement of this, is the show good? Is it, and what are we doing to continue building brand? What are we doing with marketing? How are we getting more opportunities to perform, and more importantly, to perform and get paid?
Yes.
So those are the main things. Like we're on the back end of things. Like Max and I are constantly reaching out to different festivals.
Yeah. And if something requires 30 minutes or more, we want to split it with Ochacha.
Yeah. And then we try to, I think the hard part too is sourcing the things they need, which is like, we need, obviously recent performance footage, but it's also like the documents, and also that's the more tedious stuff, which takes up more than I'd like.
Yeah.
But, this is the same, that everything else in terms of like their lore, the choreography, it's different. It's other people's responsibilities,
and their leadership is pretty on top of their own stuff too. It's like I like, we're on their Discord, and like everyone is active. Everyone's communicating, so like that communicating is not an issue. I
think what made me feel confident, that was after like their first being there for their first general meeting, and realizing a lot of it was their same people, and how well organized they already were.
It was almost a shorthand.
Was very reassuring, because again, this is new, and they did have auditions, and they brought on new people. I just didn't know who Noelle was recruiting at that time. I didn't know who Noelle was recruiting for leadership. I didn't know what the roster was. But then because I've been to when they were with the previous company, I've been to a few of their, they call it simulations, which is essentially a simulation of the experience that they're going to be giving at Anime Expo. So I knew, I was familiar with a lot of their faces, and seeing that there, I was like, oh, essentially just kind of provided a space for them to continue what they're doing. And it's exciting, because it's, I guess with the team, it's more so like a team that's works together for a long time, they can be efficient as hell. They can be, because sometimes people get stuck with the old ways,
and they get comfortable,
and then it becomes slow, and then becomes bureaucratic, because there's a certain way to do things.
I think to a point with just the dancers specifically, because that's pretty much who we were handling most of the time. I think they kind of, it didn't really sit with them that they only had a month to prepare, as opposed to the months on months they had leading up to AX. So they were, I think in the beginning, they had the same like mindset. I'm like, oh, I have time. They did not have time.
Oh yeah.
Like a month for us is long enough. A month for them, as like people that probably do not pursue dance as a form of profession, a month is zero time.
Yeah.
And I'm really proud that they like pulled it off with like the extra rehearsals and all that. Like, again, it wasn't perfect. Like, if you're gonna look at it, there was a couple missed things, but like they had a month. It's not their thing. Yeah, it was great.
I think, and I think it's just gonna compound and grow anyways.
Yes.
Because the more Brandon and Lauren work with them over time,
that was a great start.
Yeah, it's just step one. And then there's a couple other things coming up this year for them as well. So, yeah.
And to have a performance a month into your birth.
Yeah. That's really kind of a pretty big blessing right there.
Yeah.
So, but I'm excited for it. The huge opportunities that will come from it, we'll see. I can only imagine where this is going to take us, because I know this is, I don't know. Try not to say anything too exposing.
I mean,
yeah,
it's great.
Yeah. So I think
it was great. Follow them on Instagram.
Yeah. So if you're interested in following their journey, because I know they're also making a documentary.
Oh, like some members axed,
about what happened, because
it's not all of them. It's so I think people that are part of it would be like Amy and like Jeff and
Okay,
like some
like,
other former cafe that weren't.
Yeah.
They're not an Ochacha.
They were like, I think the previous with the previous ownership, they were with them for at least 15 years
Yeah.
ish.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. Again,
It was a long time.
Yeah, it was a long time, and then all of a sudden gone.
Mm.
So they're making a documentary about that. So excited, and I'm honored that they're trusting us
Mhm.
to kind of be a part of this journey.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things we did, because we're going to be sharing a lot of temper tantrums, I guess, quote unquote, assets
Mhm.
to help build them up.
Yeah.
One,
There's Lauren and Brandon. The two biggest assets.
are loaning their assets in terms of like choreography and artistic direction. And then me with the business advisor, all that other stuff, and also VP Vision Paradox with any of the content creation and any of the marketing advice.
Moral support.
I know they're also going to have their own way of doing marketing, but
yeah,
we're going to be helping with.
They have their own like marketing team and everything.
Yeah. So, and then Joy with anything that he can do with the content creation as well, because he's also part of Vision Paradox.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so we're loaning essentially a lot of our assets to help build them up in terms of the marketing.
Mm-hmm.
They can already put together the show.
Yeah,
we're helping in a lot of different ways of support.
Mm-hmm.
And then in terms of like the split in the business, I don't want to talk about that.
I mean, what I do like, especially like when I saw it at the brunch, the leadership brunch between the two, it was what I saw was it was just, I think in my head it's like worst case scenario, like we're gonna be awkward around each other, just like, oh, like, so what are you like our boss? Like I don't like it, I know that they're not that type of people, but like I was expecting kind of like some form of like awkwardness, but it was just like, oh hi, how you, like, you know, and immediately we weren't supposed to talk business, but we ended up talking a little bit of business during brunch, and then like Brandon was like brainstorming with everyone else. I'm just like, this is amazing. Yeah.
So we had about a month ago, we had a leadership meeting, or more of a mixer, between Temper Tantrum leadership and then Ochacha leadership. We kind of to just get to know each other.
Noelle fully expected a meeting. You were like, this is not a meeting.
Yeah, we're just I wanted to keep it relaxed at first before we get into the business of things.
Yeah.
What do you call it? I know I wanted to do something originally post Taste of Japan, but they already had their own internal meeting, and I don't want to do unnecessary meetings of like with Temper Tantrum leadership and be like, what are your goals? And then it's like, I'm pretty sure they internally, they already have their goals. Yeah. And they do, because Noelle updates me on things, but I don't want to be the like fucking hovering unnecessarily, because then that kind of diminishes their autonomy. And the last thing I want to do is fucking be in charge of another goddamn business.
But they did appreciate us being at like their meetings and stuff.
Oh yeah,
that's right. We went to that Gen meeting. We technically didn't have to be there, but we were there at the house.
Yeah, I want to be I'd say involved in the sense of like front facing, like like even though we're making decisions from behind the scenes, I also want to be there to meet the people who are helping keep this thing, helping this thing run, helping this be the experience that it is. Because I don't know, I think that's something I learned from Gary Vee, of just like ultimately the business, like people think that the businesses like are just entities, but businesses are in a sense human, because they're ran by humans. They're they don't exist without the people that are in it. So you gotta get to, and I still applaud this man to this day, of a CEO of how many thousands of people, still making the time to do 5-minute meetings with his employees. And that's something incredibly admirable. I mean, that could be different now. But that's something that I noticed in his vlogs. He makes time to do meetings with his employees,
even in between venues. Like he could have like a 5-minute meeting in the car. Yeah.
So and it's just to call and check in on them.
Yeah.
And then that I am not there, but like in terms of scale, in terms of business. But what I want to do is to be there to be able to connect with them on a personal level. I don't have to, like, not personal, like, I know everything that's happened in your life. I could, but like, I see you, we can connect, you can talk to me about things. And I think that's the same thing that the rest of TT leadership that's also talking to them, that they're being open and honest about, and we're being receptive to the feedback because we want this to succeed. But in order for that to happen, we cannot just be all up in our own head of like what it's supposed to be, or and completely ignore the reality of what others are experiencing.
Yeah.
So
because at Taste of Japan, like I think when they were just getting ready, like when everybody just initially started getting there, Richie, who is part of Temper Tantrum, but also part of Ochacha, he's one of the butlers, and one of the other butlers, Josh, like they literally approached me. Like I was literally just like filming some B-roll, and they approached me. They were like, "Hey, just want to say like we really appreciate you and Emeroy, like you and Emeroy being at the Gen meeting, both Gen meetings, the first two, I think, Gen meetings, and then me being there to begin with. Because like here's the thing, if you were there too to film, I would be there to film too. It's not like it's not one or the other. It just so happens that I was just alone.
Yeah,
because you weren't there. But like you were like we appreciate you guys. Like I know you guys have like all the Temper Tantrum stuff, but you're like making time for this too. It's like, I mean, it's technically ours too, but like, like we're supportive of this. Like this, we like literally kind of pushed Noelle to be like, yeah, go for it. We believe in you. We're here.
Yeah.
So like, like we're not just gonna like do it. We believe in you, then abandon her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, so I think I appreciated that they liked that. I appreciate that they were like comfortable enough. I mean, it's Richie. Richie knows me, but like even Joshua, like I barely interacted with unless it's like a rehearsal that I just happen to be there for. But he was just like, yeah, no, it's like it's really nice that like you guys are just here. Like to not even just like to capture like BTS content, but just to support. I'm like, well, yeah, like just
yeah. I think that's like the culture we're trying to build, and I don't know how long it's gonna take.
Yeah,
but we're doing the best we can to make it into what we're envisioning it to be. So
I think from what I'm gathering, just as I was saying that, it's kind of a foreign concept to them that whoever is backing them is also very supportive of them in that way, in a hands-on way. Because I mean, just from what the stories I've heard from the previous one that disbanded this cafe was like,
God, yeah.
There was a lot of lack. There was a lot of no support. There was a lot of like, it was just like, yeah, just do the thing. Like there's, some food things and all that. Like, I'm not going to tell that story. That's not my story to tell. But there was just a lack of like hands-on support that these people required and needed. That we're providing and we're not even like, yeah, we're providing this because, you need it. But like, we just give it because we know it's what we would have wanted too.
Yeah. And then the previous company that was kind of at the helm has, in my opinion, way more resources than we do. And I really feel like we're bootstrapping it right now, but even more so with essentially TT is essentially fronting a lot of the money right now.
Yes.
I'm not gonna share that. I don't want to talk about the money. Hold on. This needs to be battery change.
Okay.
Hold on.
Okay.
Oh, what were we talking about? Oh yeah. So with yeah. And anyways, like I didn't think in terms of doing another business, it's nice that someone else is at the helm of it. Because then they are in charge. They have complete ownership, which is fantastic. Because then all I do is really support, and we talk, and we kind of dialogue on what's the best move.
Mm-hmm.
And then they kind of build their thing and their culture.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know. It's kind of that part is kind of nice. In terms of work, I mean, it's not like I'm taking a whole bunch more, but it's more so like I'd say a little bit more on my mind now of like how are all these things growing? Because the main thing that really comes up for me is like the growing 1 foot in one direction versus an inch in all directions.
Yeah.
Which is hard because practical advice says to focus on one thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I personally am struggling with trying to focus on the one thing because all of it matters. But then some would say that none of it matters. And then also some might say just like, okay, if that's going to be the case, then you don't expect the work to be diluted, which might be true as well. Or you might or if you want to keep that work at a high quality, you might just have to put in more time.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you want to keep that work same quality, you bring in more people you trust. So, because the last thing I want to do is sacrifice quality.
Yeah.
But also I don't want to sacrifice time, but all of which requires some sort of sacrifice.
Yes.
Which is, I'd say, the personal conundrum I'm in, because I mean, I like part of it, because I'm trying to, it gets all like the whole find. I feel like I have harmony. It's more so like, because I feel like there's a flow of like what I get to work on. It's more so like, I would like it to be at a place where things are self-sustaining already.
Mm.
And I feel like there's some blind spots still that I've yet to learn through other experience or through other people. But as far as I know, people are still here. People want to be here, regardless of like if we're not even able to pay much.
Yeah.
So people just still want to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is great. Which means that there's something that they support and care about. But I'm just gonna, at least for me, speak for myself, is just like I'm gonna keep learning what I need to learn to lead the teams the best as I can, while at the same time trying to be a professional dancer. Because as far as I know, just in terms of as far as I know, if you have the attention, you have the leverage to work with these other companies. And if you have that leverage, which means you have the demand, you can, and then there's limited supply, you can price your shows however you want it to be. But if you don't have the demand, I mean, if you don't have the demand, then you're going to have to, I don't know where I'm going with this thought, to be honest, but yeah, go ahead.
No, I think that was just going back to Ochacha itself. Just, I think the main thing that, because again, like there are a bunch of other cafes that popped up after the AX one got disbanded. That wasn't Ochacha. Like some of the other like former members there decided to come up to start their own cafes, which is great. More power to them. Yeah. And there are already other existing made cafes that have been around. They don't even do they are so established. I think at least one of them has a brick and mortar.
Well, oh yeah, that's right.
Right? Yeah. So at least one of them has a brick and mortar. So like they are that established. They can pay rent.
Yeah.
So it's just like, okay, so there's all these other like cafes and cafe experiences. At this point, they're an experience. They don't have their own cafe. Like they don't have a house.
Yeah.
And so like it's one of those things that's like, I think heavily leaning onto like what sets Ochacha apart. Because like, again, Ochacha is one of the, maybe the only, if not one of the very few cafes that has a live band that plays. They are sick, by the way.
Yeah.
And also just in terms of, I mean, most of the time the cafe tabling experiences is pretty much the same. Like you interact, you play games, you blah blah blah, and it's all down to the personalities of each like tabler. So that part is on them. What we're really trying to set like Ochacha as far as like performance wise, because there's a performance aspect. We need these dancers to be better than the rest. Because then again, like, you know, not a lot of like all the maid and butler like dancers from other cafes can kind of dance, but they're not dancers. So like the standard for dancing for at least for Ochacha, because it is a subsidiary of a dance company as well. It's just like, you know, like the dancing in the performance just has to be like elevated, which has pretty much been like what was like at least when I was talking to Brandon, like he was like, this is what I'm going for. Like I want to take this choreography, like this is a typical butler choreography, but I want to take it up like 15 notches. And we want to do that. I want to keep doing that.
Yeah. So exciting.
People will pay for that.
I think it's an exciting opportunity. Again, it's barely like a few months into it. Go follow them, Instagram and everything else. But I honestly think we're gonna. I just think there's a lot of marketing material, an opportunity that we're going to be pushing out. It's just like
they recorded.
There is a
they
lot.
filmed a lot of TikToks in between.
Yeah, so
in between shows.
I think they're going to do well. They have great personalities. They have a great cast, and I'm excited for it. Go follow them. We'll have Noelle and any of the other people, any other of the leadership who's down to be on the podcast. So for example, we might encourage them to start their own podcast.
Yeah.
Because it's also more behind the scenes. It's also, I would almost consider like low effort, high impact content, because if it's insightful, if it's educational, empowering, or entertaining, it's valuable content. Because
they can do it either in character, like they're made characters, or they can do it out of character as just people. Yeah,
because then they get to play within that space. Yeah. in terms of how they show up, and then even doing anime reactions, because that shit's popular too. Like
easy
in character.
Oh, so that'd be great.
Or even maybe in costume.
Yeah.
So it's up to them. But that's more so like if they want to push the branding and the monetization on YouTube and all that stuff. But I don't think that's the priority yet.
Yeah.
So or at all.
Yeah.
So for me, like the main thing I'm trying to do with TT is build the brand as much as possible.
Yeah.
Because then there's a lot more brand stock and for like sponsorships for that eventually give us that money that we get lets us use that the money that we use that to support us and the art we create. Yeah. So
and even during Noelle, like during when we had dinner for Noelle's birthday, we were throwing out some like out there like ideas for like Ochacha to do. I'm not gonna get into what those are, but like they were just so out there. But at the same time, thinking about it, none of the other cafes are doing that. So why not do them anyway?
Yeah, I think especially since there's no, as far as I know, like I'm pretty sure Noelle knows the market experience of the market much better than I do, and then what is typical of a cafe and not so, or atypical. I'm pretty sure I wouldn't push it past her to want to go against the grain and make the experience or push the envelope of what the experience is.
I think she still wants to stay true to like the typical maid and butler experience with like slight improvements. Yeah. Or like seeing where she can push it without being like, oh, this is different now.
Yeah. That's it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Comment down below. Go follow them. Yeah. And we'll see you guys in the next one.
Let me know if you were at Taste of Japan. There was a lot of people there.